It was supposed to be just another summer night, the kind of night where children chased fireflies under the stadium lights, and parents leaned against parked cars, sharing small talk, while the sound of baseball bats echoed in the distance. June 9, 1995, in Alma, Arkansas, an ordinary American town where nothing truly out of the ordinary ever seemed to happen. But that illusion would be shattered forever at 10:45 p.m., when a 6-year-old girl named Morgan Nick vanished without a trace. And nearly 3 decades later, not a single concrete clue has explained how a child could disappear in plain sight, surrounded by friends, parents, and an entire community, without leaving behind even a footprint. Morgan Nick was everything you'd imagine in a sweet, innocent child. Bright blue eyes, a shy smile, and a heart full of curiosity. Her mother, Colleen Nick, had initially hesitated to let her daughter attend the Little League baseball game that evening. It was Morgan's first time being out so late, and her mother was protective as any mother would be. But it seemed safe. Other kids would be there, friends Morgan trusted, adults nearby. Nothing seemed threatening. Nothing felt dangerous. But that sense of safety would vanish just like Morgan did. As the game wound down and the last innings played out, Morgan asked her mother if she could catch fireflies with her friends just a few yards away, near the parking lot. Colleen hesitated, then agreed, under one condition. Morgan had to stay within view of the bleachers. It was a decision that would replay in Colleen's mind every single day for the rest of her life. At 10:45 p.m., Morgan's friends returned to the bleachers, but Morgan didn't. She had gone to empty sand from her shoes near her mother's car. That was the last time anyone would ever see her. Just minutes. That's all it took. One blink of time, and she was gone. At first, no one panicked. Maybe she wandered off. Maybe she was playing hide and seek. But as minutes turned into hours, and then into a long, agonizing night, the reality began to settle in. Morgan wasn't hiding. Morgan had been taken. Police arrived quickly. The search began immediately. Volunteers scoured the area, calling her name, sweeping fields, knocking on doors. Every second that passed felt heavier than the last. But there were no screams, no witnesses who saw a struggle, no tire marks peeling away, no cries for help. It was like the earth had opened and swallowed her whole. Yet there was one clue: a strange man seen near the children just before Morgan disappeared. According to her friends, he had approached them as they caught fireflies, watching them a little too closely. He was described as a man in his 20s or 30s, driving a red pickup truck with a white camper shell. But in an era before smartphone cameras and security footage, that vague description would lead investigators in countless directions, none of which would ever lead to Morgan. As the days turned to weeks, the entire town seemed to freeze in grief. Morgan's image was plastered on every storefront and highway sign in Arkansas. Her mother refused to give up. She sat by the phone every day, waiting for a call that never came. She gave interview after interview, clinging to hope, begging whoever took her daughter to just bring her home. "You don't have to say your name," she once said on national TV. "Just tell me she's safe." But she never was. Leads came in, hundreds of them. False sightings in different states, anonymous tips, letters from people claiming to know where Morgan was. All of them led to dead ends. Over the years, sketches were revised, vehicles were re-identified, and countless individuals were questioned. The FBI even got involved. But the trail was always cold. No fingerprints, no physical evidence, no body, nothing. And that's what makes the case so chilling. There are no answers, no resolution. Just an empty space where a little girl once stood. But as time passed, strange whispers began to circulate. Rumors that made the case even darker. Some speculated Morgan had been kidnapped by a child trafficking ring. Others suggested she was taken as part of a black market adoption scheme. In 2001, a convicted child predator named Alfonso D. Diaz was briefly investigated after being linked to other abductions. But nothing connected him definitively to Morgan. Then, in 2010, there was a raid on a house in Missouri based on a tip that claimed Morgan was being held there. But once again, nothing. Just a heartbreaking reminder that even hope can be weaponized. Yet, the most disturbing theory came years later, when an anonymous letter was sent to investigators claiming Morgan had died accidentally the night she disappeared, and that her body had been hidden in a crawl space under a house that no longer existed. The letter was vague and untraceable, but it was enough to send cadaver dogs and forensic teams to the location. They found nothing. But those kinds of near misses are what keep this case alive. Always just out of reach. Like trying to remember a dream that slips away the harder you try. What sets the Morgan Nick case apart isn't just the tragedy itself. It's the bizarre detail that she vanished in full view of a public space with numerous adults and children nearby. It defies logic. It makes you question reality. How does a 6-year-old girl disappear from a crowded baseball field and no one sees anything? Some believe she was watched for days, that her abductor knew exactly when and where to strike. Others wonder if someone close to the community was involved, someone who wouldn't raise alarms. A trusted face, a familiar truck, a voice that didn't sound like danger. Then there are those who believe Morgan never left Alma, that she's somewhere close, hidden, buried, forgotten by some, but never by her mother. Colleen Nick turned her grief into purpose. She founded the Morgan Nick Foundation, a nonprofit that helps prevent child abductions and supports families in crisis. Through this foundation, she has kept her daughter's name alive. She has helped thousands of other children. But the one she truly wants to help, the one she would give anything to see again, remains missing. In 2021, on what would have been Morgan's 33rd birthday, the FBI released an age progression image showing what she might look like today. A beautiful woman, full of potential, a life unlived. But it's not the photo her mother clings to. It's the one of a 6-year-old girl in a red t-shirt, with blue eyes and a smile that could light up the entire bleachers. As of today, Morgan Nick has been missing for nearly 30 years. Her case remains one of the most heartbreaking and haunting disappearances in American history. And despite the time that has passed, despite the silence and the shadows, the question remains as chilling as ever. How can someone vanish while everyone is watching?